What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Force here with some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm beta commentary. Today's game is going to be between EC Welmu and T-Funk, who you may better know as Thorzain. This is the very talented Terran player Thorzain, just going by the name T-Funk in the beta, which is kind of funny. And I wonder if he's going to actually carry this on over into the official release. Although I'd have to imagine he's going to stick with Thorzain just because that's what he's known by. But who knows? People do name changes all the time. That's enough rambling, though. This is a Terran versus Protoss matchup, Thorzain versus Welmu, and we are here on the map Fractured Glacier. And while these players have a nice little conversation here in the early game, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just showing you guys around the map. This is a new map coming with the upcoming Heart of the Swarm expansion. Got a little bit of space over here in the main base. Also, very interesting, a little extended area in this position. I feel like this is going to see a lot of drops in games, players dropping in this position, unless the person in the main base puts a building over here, like a pylon or something right here, just to make sure you can spot that. But it initially starts off dark, and that could be used for some sneaky action, that is for certain. We've got the ramp leading down into the natural expansion, normal sized ramp there. Something very interesting about the natural, though, is it can be protected here by this collapsible rock tower. So let me just remind you, this is a new environmental feature here coming in Heart of the Swarm. You kill off the 500 HP, the top half falls off. There is a bottom slate that cannot be walked past, but the top half falls off right next to it. And this basically formulates a temporary wall off for the player at their expansion. So instead of having to do a full row of buildings or like go for a cannon wall defense or something like that, you can just break down these rocks and use that as some temporary defense or even just some extra defense. It's pretty interesting, and again, I'm really excited to see that come into play in professional level games. So we've got that right there, the natural expansion. That's going to lead out right over here into a third base position, just outside of the main and the natural. And then besides that, the only other real expansion position is this center one over here. Now there are other, of course, expansion locations. These are other spawn locations, though. As you can see, we've got Thorzain now scouting out to the 3 o'clock spawn location, I'll call it. So these could be other spawn locations for the players, and obviously there's just 2 on this map, so you can expand to those positions as well. But yes, we've got that high yield expansion in the center, and then of course the Xel'Naga Tower sitting right in the middle there as well. Both players now scouting out. Looks like Thorzain is going to find Welmu first, though, as a Welmu now moving down over here into the 9 o'clock spawn position, and then we'll have to move down to the 6 until he actually finds where Thorzain is. I can't believe these guys are still chatting. They're just having a grand old time here. I gotta love it. We've got a very early expansion here. Actually, it looks like it was a Nexus first from Welmu, so very greedy expand, but it looks like we are also at the same time seeing a hard expansion from Thorzain as well, so neither player are going to be too aggressive here early on. Both of them kind of going for a more focused on resource gathering opening here, a more macro intensive opening is what we'll call it. And Probe Scout got taken out there. Looks like, I don't know if Welmu wasn't paying attention or what, or, you know, he forced himself through enough to see the expansion. I guess that was really the most important thing. So even though he lost his worker, he was able to spot this expansion. Although what would have been interesting is had Thorzain just built that in his main, like you will see a lot of times, and that would have actually denied that scout. But at the same time, it also would have delayed this mining. So I can't imagine Thorzain's too concerned, given that Welmu also expanded fast. But yeah, he got a little bit of an extra advantage early on by getting that 1 worker kill. And there you go, as I mentioned, Welmu placing a building over here just to spot this little dark corner and make sure no shenanigans were taking place. Also love the fact that this pylon is granting him vision down over here, so if we were to see something like a early Marine Hellion drop attempted by Thorzain, which would likely probably come from this angle and drop up here, the pylon would scout that before it makes it on up. Welmu now sitting with his beautiful Mothership Core, one of the new units for Protoss players here in Heart of the Swarm. Mothership Core having a few abilities, ability to energize and return energy to a unit or structure. Purify, which basically makes it a, I don't know, mobile photon cannon or something along those lines for 45 seconds. It allows it to deal damage. And then Mass Recall, costing 150 energy, but allowing you to pull units from target location back to the Mothership Core. And then finally, we have got to the ability to upgrade to a mothership. So yes, the full-fledged mothership does still exist. It does require a fleet beacon as well, and also you can not have another mothership in play. You can see that under the requirements there. We do have a Stargate actually coming out here. 2 Stargates coming out for Welmu. He's going to be opening up air focused in this game. I'll be interested to see what he's deciding to go with. Are we going to see some Tempest action? Is he going to play around with some Phoenix harass? That is definitely a possibility. Now, of course, there are the new units coming with the Heart of the Swarm expansion, but that doesn't mean that people can't utilize old, effective strategies. Double Stargate opening, though. Very intrigued. Also sitting on 3 gateways, turning those into warp gates right now. And another pylon to spot the edge of this this area as well, giving him a little bit extra vision over here, and also just in case he sees any drops from this position, he'll be able to handle that. And here we go, Warhound charging its way across the map. I'm going to sit at the Xel'Naga Tower for a moment. And is he going to continue to push? Yes, he is. He's just going to keep on moving here. Oh, the Warhounds are so funny. They're so strong, and yeah, look, he's just going to start going to work here, and I'm sorry that I missed it, but as you can see, Welmu did destroy this collapsible rock tower to give him that wall off again. This cannot be walked through, this slab of rock right here. But T-Funk can have no problem. Thorzain, why did I call him T-Funk? Thorzain going to have no problem dealing with this, and there's nothing that Welmu can really do to stop this Warhound from doing that, unless I suppose if he brought his Mothership Core and purified it. Then he could actually engage there, but yeah, whatever. Easy way for Thorzain to deal with that. Back over here for Thorzain, what does he got going on? Looks like we've got a Mobius reactor research coming on through from the Ghost Academy, so he's going to be getting some Ghost early on, it appears to be the case. With his 2 tech labs now coming down on these barracks, that Ghost production, I guess, will be starting pretty soon. Besides that, also going with some Marines and Warhound action. And speaking of Warhound action, gets lifted off by the Phoenixes, and that was what we were seeing out of those Stargates there as Welmu opens up with some Phoenix action. Immediately, Thorzain responds by placing down a few missile turrets, 1 in each resource line. We're going to assume that that's the case. There we go. And then also we'll be defending with a few Marines. Let's see how effective these Phoenixes are going to be by Welmu. He's got a few more Phoenixes in production. 1's coming through, 1 joining the rest of the crew over here. What is he able to do with this? Moves forward, takes out 1 SCV, almost loses a Phoenix in the process, though, to that high DPS from the missile turret. And now just kind of sitting outside of Thorzain's natural expansion. And I guess he's not going to be doing much more than that at the moment. Ghost production now in play here. He is already sitting with 2 Ghosts in play, with 2 more Ghosts coming through. Now, Welmu's definitely going to want to do more damage than he has already, so we should see him continue to push on in. Loses the Phoenix, though, also takes an EMP to the face. And look at that, all of these shields depleted here by these, what is this, 5? Or, yeah, it's 5 Phoenixes here. Lost all of their energy, pretty much, as well as their shields. How unfortunate there for Welmu. The energy is the biggest concern, though, because without that energy, he, of course, cannot graviton beam up and lift up any of those ground forces to harass them, and that's the kind of the main focus there. That's the main point of getting these Phoenixes early on, is to do that type of liftoff harass. Welmu now moving into a 3rd base here, as we do have Thorzain still just on the 2, and he is not coming out with a 3rd command center either. So he may be planning a strong 2-base push. I will wonder if Welmu scouts this and decides to pull back to engage. Takes an EMP, was able to get a Warhound in the process, but he lost a Phoenix? Did he lose a Phoenix as well? I think he did. I'm pretty certain he lost another Phoenix there in all of that. At the very least, we did see that Warhound got taken out, and here we go. T-Funk now preparing to mobilize and make his way across the map. Now back at home for Welmu, we do have the Mothership Core changing into a Mothership. I don't know if he's going to have time to do that. Look at how slow that process is. And the big push from Thorzain now moving. Now with the liftoff, was able to take out another one of these Warhounds here. Warhounds, of course, very dangerous for Protoss players because they are anti-mechanical units. And uh-oh, that's a big blunder there by Welmu. Got some Zealots making their way across the map, and they're going straight here for Thorzain's natural expansion. So he's going to be able to do a bit of damage, but at the same time, look at this T-Funk ready to go. The Mothership Core not going to turn into a Mothership in time. In fact, that's just going to get taken out. That's a huge loss there for Welmu. He was really relying on getting that Mothership. He also took some big EMPs to his Zealot army, and that is scary. Oh, just shredding through everything that Welmu has. The Zealots over here, looks like they are finally getting dealt with. Probe's forced to come down, but Thorzain just decimated Welmu's army here at his third base, and I'm not sure that Welmu has enough to stay in the game, and there it is, just calls the GG as his mothership gets sniped, attempting to warp in. His counter-harass was able to do a little bit of damage. Let me take a look at how many workers he killed. Actually, I guess it wasn't that many. He killed off 9 workers, and Thorzain in this engagement was able to kill off 16. But so his counter-harass wasn't as effective, and the fact that his entire army got mopped up in literally just a few seconds didn't help him much either. A very interesting build here by Thorzain, going Warhound, Mass Ghost, and a few Marines for support, even without Stimpak. The DPS, with the assistance of those EMPs, did a significant amount of damage to Welmu's force. Good game there by both players, and pretty interesting to watch. Alright, my friends, thank you so much for watching this game here between Welmu and Thorzain. You know, we just saw a very strong 2-base push against Protoss from Thorzain. Maybe something for you guys to incorporate in your own games. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like the content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, guys, keep watching and keep owning.